this ancient archive of knowledge, you know?
What do you mean?
It's like when this song comes on that you haven't heard in decades and you just immediately go back to singing it.
Okay.
I feel like sometimes with trivia and things like that, like where does that come from? You know, like when did it stick? You know, because it's like things you haven't been exposed to for years and whatever. It's just so random. It's like, it's just interesting that we can know all these things that we don't regularly think about or like access in our mind. And then when we call on it, if we don't overthink it, it can just pop up and we remember.
Right. It is pretty wild. Like, is it all there? Every moment, everything?
Presumably,
is
it's
it all in there?
Of course, it's all tucked in there. Where else would it be? But then it's, you know,
maybe it's
it's
just
like
nowhere.
it all lays dormant.
But is everything, every single moment you've lived in your memory somewhere? Or,
It's a good...
I mean, there's definitely things that like aren't top of mind and then something reminds me of them. Or someone's telling you a story, you go, I don't remember this day at all. And then they go, no, the kid with the fucking red hat who was like pushing everybody. And then you go like, oh,
Right.
I remember now. And then you remember everything.
It's like a web. And I think, isn't that what people who like have really good memories say, that they just always make like a map back to something? So that's why a lot of them will like, you know, leave trails, so to speak, or like breadcrumbs to find their way back to a memory.
Yeah, they like, you're supposed to like visualize a house and like put a memory in a cabinet in a house somewhere.
And stuff like that. I mean, I haven't really dabbled much with that practice, but
Me
I am
neither.
intrigued by it. It does seem to make sense. And like, I feel like obviously the more context you have for a piece of information, the more likely you are to remember it.
Yeah.
Right. So when you're like, okay, Philadelphia, and like, that's what kind of starts spinning the loops, right? This other trail of breadcrumbs all around. And, you know, you just start like piecing it together. And then I think that allows different recall.
Right, if it was like-
you get like different layers into thought.
If it was
Not always deep. Sometimes it's shallow.
a not average day, you're more likely to remember. So if it's like every day you go to school in high school and on the way to school one day you see something, like maybe you're not going to remember that as well because you're just going to school. You go to school every day. But like seeing something on a trip to Spain or at a rock concert, like you're remembering more because it's a newer environment. I don't know. I'm just guessing. I'm just making shit up. I have no clue.
Isn't that the name of this podcast?
Yeah, I mean, ChatGPT might be even lying to us about these state names. Who knows?
I want
I'm
to
not
keep
gonna
going.
verify
Were
it.
there more? That didn't feel like 10.
There were more. Strange.
Fascinating stuff.
Strange world.
Captivating.
Memories. You know, when people do the, they have memory competitions.
Yes, I'm aware.
And it's like you got to remember a long string of numbers.
Yes.
I wonder what the record is. But they say the way they do it is they associate every number with like a word in a story. So it's like, I watched a video about it
I don't
once.
think there are different hacks. Like, it's not all that. Some people do like place-based memory, like plant things in the houses, like you're talking about.
But I'm saying when it's a competition, you have to remember like 1,000 numbers in order. Like people go like threes are T's, and so it's like tree, and like fives are like S's. So if it was like 353, you might go like tree, slide, typo. I don't know. You make a story or something
yeah.
out of it.
No, it's
I wonder what the
impressive.
record is.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, what's the longest amount of like pi that people have remembered?
Well,
Because that's one of those
Yeah.
similar things. People always work to remember all those numbers for some reason. I
so
don't
that
understand.
actually just popped up here. A notable record is held by Ravir Meena of India, who recited, guess how many decimals of pi in 2015?
1,200.
Uh-uh.
What you got?
Higher.
30,000.
Higher.
No way. You're out of your mind. What was his name?
Ravir
Rajir. Whoa.
Rajir.
Rajir. Whoa.
Ravir Meena of India.
Oh my.
Keep going. You're not there yet. Higher.
100,000.
Lower. 70,000. How long would that even take? I feel like that takes like 4 weeks to say all that.
Wow, that is. I knew that these competitions existed, but I never really like thought to look up the max. That is beyond what I was imagining in terms of accomplishment. Wow, that's
But like if this
commitment.
kid like, that's probably all his memory. He's like, he never knows where his keys are, He's like, he's just like, he took up, there's only so much room,
That's it.
I mean, they do say you can only remember like 200 faces or something like that.
Really?
Something like there's only so many people you can know,
Never
if
heard
you
that.
meet 10,000 people, like you'll only really retain a certain amount. There's something
That makes sense.
There's something like that.
But if you have context for an individual, you really think you'll forget their face? Because I feel haunted by it. Like, I have a hard time forgetting faces. Names, sure,
Okay.
I could let those go. But faces, I often would be like, I think I know you, or, that feeling.
But you don't know the ones you don't remember. Like maybe someone you've met, you've walked right
Touche.
past them at the store and you just didn't even think like, oh, do I know you? Because you just don't remember them. They look like a
Touche.
stranger.
How would I wouldn't be noticing that.
You would only know, I guess, if they came up to you and said, hey, I know you, which I guess you don't get a lot of. And then you don't know the person.
I do get a lot of that. People tell me I look like their cousins all the time. I get that. No one's
Got a
ever like,
cousin
you
look.
look like this celebrity, or you look like, it's just like, you look like my cousin. I'm like, cool.
So on that like blind dating show, you would say, I probably look like your cousin.
Yeah. I'm not likely to be your cousin. My family's quite small, but I look like your cousin.
Well, family's quite small. Yeah.
My
like I
family's
said.
quite small, but